Coming to you live from the White Picket Studios in Houston, Texas, this is the Realty Ruckus. If you are in any way, shape, or form involved in the real estate industry, this is the show for you. And now, your host, Alan Hernandez.
Good morning, Houston. Thank you for joining us today for Realty Ruckus Live radio show. We want to thank our sponsors for having us, putting on this show today, and thank our guest, Richard Smith, for joining us once again to talk about all of the intricacies of growing our real estate business. Isn't that what we're here for?
Yep. Cool.
So one of the things we got to talk about is how awesome July 4th was. Did you guys have a good time? Did you guys go out and do something fun? Catch some fireworks?
My freedom.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully you guys had some barbecue and didn't blow anything up.
Hey,
I've got body parts.
All 10 fingers, and David's got all 11 fingers.
Okay, how many people blew up body parts this weekend? There was at least a couple.
There was quite a few.
All right.
This weekend.
No athletes that I know of. No professional athletes like has happened in the past.
Yeah. Well, not that we know of yet.
But at least a couple kids blew up hands or body parts.
Yeah, we had a kid, unfortunately, here in Houston. They did a what's it called? A sparkler bomb.
A sparkler bomb. You take like 15 sparklers together, and then wrap duct tape around them, and then you light it on fire and throw it, and it creates like a bomb. It's like a loud boom.
So that's like the cheapest way to create a firework. I mean, because sparklers are the cheapest ones you can buy, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
And you just light them up and they create a bomb?
They explode.
Let's not talk about creating bombs on this show. We don't want to be like on the ISIS.
Let everyone know that kid doesn't have a leg anymore.
Yeah, okay, and he might lose his eyesight.
So he lost a leg and eyesight for creating a sparkler.
Might lose his eyesight.
All right, good job on the
So even the sparkler, the small. Actually, I was reading up on my community Facebook page, and you know those little popper, the snapping ones.
Yeah.
Some, I guess they were throwing them, and the sawdust from one of them got in a little girl's eye. And they couldn't get it out, so they actually had to take her to the ER. So even the little snappy ones that you think are safe, still can get you.
It's all gunpowder at the end of the day. It's just
people don't realize
gunpowder with rocks in there that explode. It's pretty dangerous. David's got one story. He was telling me about a guy who his hand got blown off apparently. And
the guy was it New York? No, Chicago.
Loses a hand completely.
His hand got blown off. It flew away like 250 feet.
What kind of fireworks do you got to use to blow up a hand completely?
No idea.
Wow.
Well, the best part of the story is this dog, the neighbor's dog, went and got the hand and brought it to the neighbor. The dog. Imagine your dog shows up with a severed hand.
That's a real retriever right there.
Yeah, at least he found it, right?
Yeah, they were actually able to reattach it. They don't know how much he'll be able to use it or anything, but because the dog found it, they were actually able to reattach it.
Hey, man, good job for Sparky on that one.
Yeah, no, thanks. That should be his name, Sparky.
Oh, gosh.
God, man. All right, so people are really crazy when it comes to July 4th and their fireworks. I love it. I went out to City Center last night, and I could not even walk through the little arena, because it was literally shoulder to shoulder. Incredible. And something really cool happened. I don't know if I told you guys this. I my family, they're a little picky. I usually have grandma stay with me over the weekend. She was like, no, we got to go. So, all right, fine. So we start leaving. We get in the car, and somebody stops me. All right, one of our viewers, his name is Carlos, comes up, introduces himself, and says, I watch your show. I want to get into real estate.
What?
And
yeah.
I at first I didn't even know what to say. I was like, you people watch the show?
Hey, guys.
So Carlos, if you're watching, thank you very much for tuning in, man. We really appreciate it. Let us know what we can do to help you grow your business and how we can help you get started in real estate. The other thing that happened is we heard of the news that Kevin Durant.
I know, that's a big one. Big news in sports. Yeah. Kevin Durant will be leaving the Oklahoma City Thunder and joining the Golden State Warriors.
Is that the weakest move in basketball you've ever seen?
Whew, man, it's pretty weak.
It's weak, right?
Yeah, I don't like it.
When LeBron left Cleveland, he was the team.
Yeah.
And he had a bunch of really low players around him. There wasn't anybody good. Durant was on a competitive team. They were up 3-1.
Yeah, it's a good team.
And they had a chance of closing out that series. So the fact that he's leaving and going to the team that came back and beat him, I mean, that's just like bad on bad.
What does that say about him, you think? What is he really thinking?
I just have a gut feeling that it's gonna backfire on them. I don't have anything to back that up or anything. Just a gut feeling. I think it's gonna backfire on them somehow, and I don't think the chemistry or something is gonna be there.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just put that level of caliber player into that team, especially when they already have the rock stars that they need to win it.
They're already an ultra high level team. To me, it makes sense to move. He's going to a superstar team.
He just wants to put a ring on his finger. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
You got to put a ring on it.
You got to put a ring. If you want it, then you got to put a ring on it. So, anyways, guys, today we're gonna have a phenomenal show. We're getting ready to talk all about automating your business. And so one of the things that we're going to cover today and here in just a short minute is how to set it up first. Because, I mean, we can talk about automation. We can talk about all the systems. Heck, we can give you the names of all the systems that we talk about. But if you don't actually know how to implement them, then what's the point? So we're going to give you guys all of the key factors on setting it up right from the beginning, and then how to automate it. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve. Contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Hey everyone, this is David with the House Flipping Network, and if you're like a lot of people, you're probably daydreaming right now about getting to fire your boss. Let me tell you about an exciting opportunity for you to do just that. If you've been looking to get into real estate investing or flipping homes, the House Flipping Network provides coaching and consultation services for people looking to grow a real estate investment business. If you're interested in more information, please reach out to me at david@houseflippingnetwork.com.
Hey Houston real estate agents, this is Alan Hernandez, broker at White Picket Realty. I want to let you know that when you're ready to stop working your real estate career and start building a real estate business, Team WPR is a place to be. Not only do we offer real results, real support, and real branding, but furthermore, 80 to 100% commissions of your hard-earned money going back to you. So make sure you reach out to us. Join at teamwpr.com. Again, that's join, Join, at teamwpr.com.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus. And David, how's the weather out there?
We're hitting the dog days of summer, BB. It's going to be high 90s out there all week long.
Oh, God.
That's on the cool end.
Yeah, and a heat index today of 110. So I know anybody out there, it's going to be brutal.
Nice.
Good luck, guys.
It's time to go get my summer tan on, you know?
Yeah, really. Your summer bake on, man.
I know the audience has been calling to see some more of that wonderful tan, BB.
Oh, yes, baby.
We're gonna have to
Everyone
bust out
wants
the
to
muscle
see
shirt.
you wear that shirt.
On Friday, just for our viewers, I'll be wearing a muscle
For those
shirt.
of you that asked,
Live on the air.
he's going to do it.
I'm going to wear my muscle
He's
shirt.
going to do
here.
it. He's going to wear the famous muscle shirt.
I got to
this
bring
Friday.
out the gun show on Friday.
All right, so we want to talk a little bit about creating a plan first and then automating your business. And the reason why we're doing that is because we were sitting here talking about it on what things we have automated. And we said, well, you know, we have really most of the business already set up to either go to a person or a system. But the problem is there are people out there who will go out there and buy the systems. And some systems are very, very expensive. For example, Salesforce, who can literally automate all of your follow-ups, leads, all that stuff. But you're going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on buying Salesforce, setting it up, and getting someone to get it somewhat working for you. And if you don't know how to actually put it to work, if you don't actually know how it fits into your system, then you've just spent those thousands of dollars and done nothing with it. So one of the things that we decided to do is give you guys a plan on how you can actually set up your business to be automated. So generally what happens is you're starting out, if you're a realtor, loan officer, investor, that's generally the people that are watching our show. You're saying, all right, I want to go out and list houses, or I want to go out and buy houses, or I want to go out and help people get a loan on a house. How do you go out there and do that? And how do you keep from doing everything that's involved in doing it? When you first start, you pretty much got to do it all yourself.
Oh yeah,
isn't that how it works?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Wear a lot of hats.
You wear all the hats, and a lot of times what happens is you start realizing there are things you don't like to do. There are things you really do love to do and you're really, really good at.
Right.
But those things that you don't like to do are necessary. Someone's got to do them. Someone has to pick up the phone. Someone has to, do all the replying or whatnot. And
I think at a certain point, it becomes brutally evident that there's just not enough time. There's a buddy of mine used to say it all the time is you can always find more money. There's plenty of money out there, but you can't get more time.
That's absolutely right.
And I think that's what a lot of automation has to do with is learning to respect and use your time at its fullest. And you guys were talking about it during the break, a story about respecting time. And somebody called you, Richard. Do you have that story?
Oh, well, I have an assistant that makes a lot of phone calls for me on my behalf. So, and he also runs my calendar. So when he's making appointments, whether it's a coffee appointment or whether it's an appointment to teach a class, he'll give people a call and then schedule either a call or a coffee. And we did have somebody that said, if Richard can't call me himself, then I have no need to meet with him. And it was one of those things where that's a kind of an example of somebody that, not that they don't respect your time, but a lot of people don't. They may not know they're not, but they just don't. And to be efficient and to get a lot done with the time we have, we do have to set up some automation, and we do have to get people to help us, but at least respect our time in that sense. So
and so people like that sometimes are just not even worth working with. I mean, they're going to be difficult in that sense.
It's a little red flag from the very beginning.
I tell people all the time, all of our agents probably have heard me say this 100 times, if you do not respect your time, nobody else will.
Right.
You have to make it a purpose to do so. And it comes down to that. You can't make more time, and you only have a limited amount of time that you can actually come in and do the work that you need to do. And if you can't get it all done yourself, someone's got to help you.
Right.
So you're absolutely right. Sometimes people don't respect the time, and people don't get it. I had somebody pretty much the same thing. When I told them that they had to go through my assistant to set up a time to speak to me, why do I have to do that? That doesn't make any. I have to set up an appointment just to talk to you. It's like, yeah, man. I mean, I have a full schedule packed. I actually have to set time aside to talk to you. And it's kind of funny because when I spoke to that person, the first thing they started telling me was, well, I have this lead. Okay, great. Tell me about the lead. Well, it's a motivated seller. Tell me more about this motivated seller. How do you know they're motivated? Well, I'm not sure yet. It's like, why am I calling you? Well, here's the address. Can you look it up for me? No, I can't, man. You're a realtor. You should know these kind of things. Go out, collect this information. When you have this information, then let's talk. Let's figure out a way to work together and how I can help you. Haven't heard from the guy since. So you're right. Some of those people that don't understand or appreciate others' time also don't respect their own.
Right.
And they're in the misconception of that it's okay to waste other people's time as well. So, all right, so if we want to save time and if we want to automate systems so that we can have more time to do the things that we like to do, the things that we love to do, and to offset everything else, how do we start? Where do we begin? And what would be step number one in your opinion?
I do teach an exercise, and I did this myself, and we talked about it a little bit, but I took about anywhere from a 30-minute to an hour time block, got rid of all distractions, and just sit there with nothing but a notebook and write down everything that you do every day. And that's everything from drinking water, making coffee, calling back referral partners, calling leads, everything you do, and you write that down. And the second part of the exercise is to get a legal size piece of paper, and like you were saying, there's 3 columns. One is, what am I really, really good at? Second one is, what do I totally
What do I
just
like
forgot.
to do?
Yeah, what do I love to do?
Yeah.
So what am I good at? What do I love to do? And the third column is, what brings me money? So now you're going to take everything you did and you're going to put them in different columns. Now, there might be some items that are in all 3 columns. Okay, there might be some items that are in just the make money column, because there's things we do and we don't enjoy it, and we may not even be good at it, but it does bring in money, so we have to do that. There'll be some items that aren't even on any 3 of these columns, and that's the ones you scratch out and stop doing, because it's true.
Well,
we
maybe
all
there should be a fourth
busy work.
column. There should be a 4th column called things I do not like to do.
Well, no, because if it's not in the like, it's not making you money, you just stop doing it, because there's really no thinking about it. So now you have these 3 columns, and the items that are in all 3 columns, that's what you should be doing. That's your money-making activities. That's what you're passionate about. That's what you should be doing. Now, of course, there's going to be things that you have to do, so that's where the best way is to automate. And my favorite way to automate is delegate. So either automate or delegate.
Perfect. Now, when you say automate or delegate, let's break that down a little more for the audience who is watching this, because they actually want to know more. They actually want to understand what things you have to do, what systems, what people, where do you get these people, what are all the intricacies. When we get back, we're going to cover some of those details. We're going to give you guys some really good nuggets of information here shortly. Stay tuned.
We'll be back.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express, who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Hey everyone, this is David with the House Flipping Network, and if you're like a lot of people, you're probably daydreaming right now about getting to fire your boss. Let me tell you about an exciting opportunity for you to do just that. If you've been looking to get into real estate investing or flipping homes, the House Flipping Network provides coaching and consultation services for people looking to grow a real estate investment business. If you're interested in more information, please reach out to me at david@houseflippingnetwork.com.
Hey Houston real estate agents, this is Alan Hernandez, broker at White Picket Realty. I want to let you know that when you're ready to stop working your real estate career and start building a real estate business, Team WPR is a place to be. Not only do we offer real results, real support, and real branding, but furthermore, 80 to 100% commissions of your hard-earned money going back to you. So make sure you reach out to us. Join at teamwpr.com. Again, that's join, Join, at teamwpr.com.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus, and Richard is delivering some gold for us right now. So
Yeah.
I just want to keep jumping right back into that same conversation.
So we were talking about creating a list of IPAs, income producing activities is what I like to call them. Richard, you have a different name for them. But at the end of the day, it's all the same thing. We want to make sure that our time is focused on anything that produces income, and then everything else is delegated or set to an automation system, right? So delegated or automated. Now, in our world, the way that we did it, and you know, this could be different for you guys, but I think this is probably a good start. The way that we did it is we sat down and we said, okay, now we figured out everything that we do. Now let's go through a timeline process. What does it look like to take, for example, a client from point A of first contact to point, Z or whatever, which is closing.
Right.
What are the steps involved? So then we created a list. We said, okay, well, the first thing we're going to do is lead intake. The person, or what happens when this person contacts us, who sent them to us, all that stuff. What happens then? Well, these are the things that have to happen. So if you guys want to actually get out your notepads and try this at home, this is the way it works. It's step one, first point of contact. What are you doing then? Who does it? When? And what happens? What do you want your system to look like, and what do you want your system to do? And then at that point, you would either say, okay, it's either a system or a person. Now,
Right.
Richard, you chose people at first, right?
Right.
Isn't that how you did it? Now you're on Salesforce, but it took you a little while to get there.
Yeah, because it's expensive to have a really good system.
Yeah.
So to add to what you were saying is you have to map it out.
Yeah.
And then a lot of what you map out, it might be you doing, you a realtor, a loan officer, or an investor, because you're starting your system. So we'll take an example of the follow-up system with every past clients, everybody that knows, likes, and trusts you, leads that you're nurturing, people like that. You've got to write down that whole follow-up strategy that you're going to do. So we have one that we do where we call this person at least 3 times a year. We automatically send them an email tip once a week. We text them 5 times a year. We link them up on social media and different ways that we attract. So really it's top of mind, and then we do actual handwritten mail-outs every month to these people. So we talk about top of mind. People have to remember us, so when they are ready to buy, that we're the person they call.
Right.
So we map that out, and then we look at it and first look at it, what can I automate? So the email marketing, it can be automated. There's very inexpensive programs out there that you can purchase as a realtor or anybody. I think that's the first thing. You look at making the phone call. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that. You can automate it by delegating somebody else to do it, but at first it might be you.
Sure.
So figure out what can be automated now and what you have to do yourself. You may have, it's summertime, you might have a college kid or high school kid or even junior high write out your handwritten notes. So figure out what you're going to automate and then time block it. So the things that we have to do ourselves might be the phone calls to the clients 3 times a year. Time block that and automate that so it doesn't slip through the cracks.
And what do you mean by time blocking? Because I think there's probably a lot of our listeners who feel like, well, my day is fluid, so I have
Correct.
to be able to keep my schedule fluid. But when you're saying time blocking,
It's kind of like respecting our time, and we talked about that. So when I time block an appointment, and this is one of the mistakes I think a lot of us make, is when we have, let's say I'm going to time block an hour to do this exercise because this is important for our career. So I'm going to time block an hour. During that hour, we're in a room. There's no phone. There's nothing because you're in an appointment. Right now, as we're on the radio, if somebody calls me, I have someone that's going to answer the phone, and Richard's in an appointment. That's no different than if I'm in my office writing my handwritten notes to people. If someone calls, Richard's in an appointment. Because we have to be able to respect that time or we get nothing done. So to answer your question, time blocking, I use real simple. I use Google Calendar, and I time block my day. And a realtor can do the same thing. It can change, but you just move with Google Calendar. You just move your appointments. So let's say you do have somebody that wants to see houses and they came into town or whatever. You move that appointment, but you got to honor those time blocks. And one of the things that we don't give ourselves the respect we give other people. So if we're at a closing table or if we're sitting across from a potential listing client, a seller, we're not going to answer our phone. We're not going to check our Facebook. We're not going to get on the computer. We have to respect our own time the same way, and that's how we get more done. And then, like we talked about, automating and having the right things to automate. So that's, I think it makes a huge difference.
That's a great piece of advice, is because a lot of people will say, well, God, that's so hard to put an hour to sit down and do that and not have my phone and not look at my email for that hour.
Yeah.
But if you have your fail safes in there, which is somebody to answer your phone,
Correct.
take care of emergencies. There's really nothing massive that could happen during that hour that's going to prevent you from taking it.
And someone might be thinking, well, I can't afford to hire a full-time person to answer my phone when I'm in my time block. You got to really think about different things and look what's available out there. And we talked about it, I think, last time with different answering services. That literally my answering service, if I'm in a time block and the phone rings and it goes to the answering service, they'll text me and let me know who called. They'll try to help the person, but it's literally $50 to $60 a month, which really isn't expensive when you consider if you're not answering your phone, which is, I think, the biggest fear of a lot of realtors right now. If I don't answer my phone, they move on to another realtor, and it happens.
Yeah.
So just kind of thinking about what can I put into place to automate it so I can get more done with my time, because like you said, time is everything.
So that would be part of the lead intake process, is automating someone to always answer the phone. And I get it all the time when I call a realtor and their voicemail is full.
Oh man.
And that I mean, I can't tell you how much that bothers me.
The one that bothers me the most is you call a realtor and their phone rings, no answer, and then it goes, the Google voicemail box has not been set up.
Yes. Yeah, it's crazy. That, you know, that on the investor end, there's also the people that literally say, hey, I don't check my voicemail, text me only. And I've heard a couple of those people, and you know, it makes me wonder, would I call that person back if they told me, hey, literally, I don't check my voicemail? Would I text them? Now, people are moving in the text direction nowadays.
I much prefer a text than a voicemail.
People do like that. And the newer generations like it more than the older generation. So sometimes you got to understand that, hey, maybe if they say that, maybe it's okay to just text someone, but do you want to be that person? If that's the way you want your business to run, make sure that it runs efficiently, and make sure that you're replying. Make sure that you have some auto reply set up so that when you do get a text, someone or you or your phone even replies back. I like that. I like the fact that we can automate those things. But once we have an intake, once we have a lead set up and it's in the system, what happens then? We move into what? What do you think would go next?
With automating follow-up, right?
Yeah. So we have a lead. Now what do we want to do with it? Do we want to maybe put it into our CRM? Hopefully everyone has a CRM.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you can't afford an expensive CRM right away, there's so many inexpensive and even free. I think MailChimp.com is a CRM that's free.
Does it work as a CRM?
It's also CRM too.
Pretty basic.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So
they're basic. You have to understand, you're not going to get the full spectrum that you can with a thing like Salesforce.
Yeah.
But if you're in the beginning stages, or you're saying
something,
I don't know if I'm ready to step it up, well, it's a good first step.
Yeah, you need to work up your way up to it.
Yeah. And it's about doing something, because I mean, even with a new real estate agent that has one client, one is greater than zero, right?
That's true.
Period.
Yeah.
So even if you can't afford a Salesforce, get something going. And MailChimp.com is free, and it's something that you can, at least if you're sending once a week email campaign or an email tip, you send it to everybody. You can't do it in Gmail or Outlook, because you know, it just doesn't work. So yeah, setting up your CRM, and I think that's the one thing that most of us have the hardest time doing, is setting up our database. Because I ask people every day, you know, how do you keep your database? Well, I have Outlook or Gmail, which it's not bad, at least it's something, or Facebook. But man, to try to set it up and get it where it is automated, so every lead that comes in, you already have some kind of system set up where you can follow up. And the key is setting up reminders too. Because I was talking about, there's even an iPhone app called Bond, B-O-N-D, and this app, literally every time you talk to, let's say, someone in incubation, potential buyer or seller, you talk to them on the phone, you just connect it to the app and you schedule the next time that you're going to call that person, and then it pops up on your phone. And just little things like that. Google Calendar works real good, but something to remind you, because literally I've had people, and it'll show Bond, you know, call Alan. It's like, dang it, I feel like I called him last week, but it's been 3 months, because that's just how time goes. Yeah, so setting up some sort of automation that way so we don't forget. That's pretty key, I think.
Yeah, and I think the best way to do it is looking at what it is that you want to achieve, every little task, and then saying, okay, will my system do it? If your system's not going to do it, then you have to have someone do it, or you have to do it yourself.
Right.
Now, for us, one of the things that we do is when we come across really anyone that we may potentially want to join our team, and really almost any realtor that we do business with, we will at least research and figure out if they qualify. If they do, then we automatically want to send them a little card just saying, hey, how are you? This is who we are. Let us know if you're interested in ever talking to us. But we wanted to automate that system. Well, we found there's not an easy way to set up a system to do it. You can't just tell a computer program to go out and send that card for you. So then what we did is, well, every time we find someone or we have a contract, then it goes to our assistant, our head assistant here, and our assistant will write the card and then send it out. So that was one way for us to automate that. But there's tons of ways to do it. The other thing we run into is tasks that we run on a daily basis. As realtors, as loan officers, and as investors, you do little things that sometimes aren't income producing. And I ask this all the time. I was like, who puts out your signs? Who puts out your realtor sign? Or who puts out your lockbox?
Right.
Well, I'll go out and I'll do it myself. And it's like, all right, but if this house that you're going to go put a lockbox on is an hour away, you just spent an hour driving there, 10, 15 minutes to put the lockbox and sign, and an hour driving back. Those 2 hours and 15 minutes, could you have used those to make a few phone calls or follow up or do something that is income producing? Oh, well, I guess I could have. It's like, well, yeah, of course you could have, and you should have, because if you would have offset that to someone, if you would have subcontracted someone to do it, you could have done it for, $50.
I think what's interesting, because it kind of goes back to what Richard said earlier about creating those 3 columns, because there's people that there's certain things they like to do.
Yeah.
And they don't fall under the like and the make money one.
Right.
They just fall under the I like to do that. Some people enjoy getting in their car, driving out there, putting the sign in the yard. It's kind of like putting their flag, on the new colony for them.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you have better things to be doing with your time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you ask people like that, well, did you make all your follow-up calls today?
Right.
Well, I had to drive all the way out to Kingwood and go put out a sign.
Did you really have to drive all the way out?
Exactly. And what was more important, making those follow-up calls or putting that sign in the yard?
What created more income for you?
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
And I have a little thing that I typed out on a Word doc. Is what I'm doing right now getting me closer to my goals? Or is what I'm doing right now the best use of my time?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes it is. We have, when someone does something like that, they go home and they're like, man, I accomplished something. I drove all the way out there, I put the sign out. But is that the best use of your time? And it's taken you away from your money-making activities.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why you didn't achieve your goals for that month, or why things didn't go right, or why you didn't get as many sellers to call you or whatnot.
Right.
It's because you spent all your time being an errand boy, driving around putting up signs, when you can hire people to do that. And there are companies that will literally do that for you. And they're not expensive. They're not expensive at all.
I thought that they would be fairly expensive.
Yeah.
And when I started researching them, I said, whoa, wait a minute. This is actually really affordable. And it totally makes sense to hire them and let them do it.
Think about it this way, because here's the key. You're going to pay, when you pay someone to do something, you're giving some of your money away. Mm-hmm. But you can't think of that mindset. When you're paying someone to go put your signs up, that's when you do your money-making activities, make your phone calls. Now, they're free.
Yep.
They're free because you're doing the right things. That's the key, I think.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit more about what those things look like. We have a few more golden nuggets to literally hand you guys here, so make sure you guys stay tuned, because we got some good information coming your way. Talk to you soon.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express, who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Hey everyone, this is David with the House Flipping Network, and if you're like a lot of people, you're probably daydreaming right now about getting to fire your boss. Let me tell you about an exciting opportunity for you to do just that. If you've been looking to get into real estate investing or flipping homes, the House Flipping Network provides coaching and consultation services for people looking to grow a real estate investment business. If you're interested in more information, please reach out to me at david@houseflippingnetwork.com.
Hey, Houston real estate agents. This is Alan Hernandez, broker at White Picket Realty. I want to let you know that when you're ready to stop working your real estate career and start building a real estate business, Team WPR is the place to be. Not only do we offer real results, real support, and real branding, but furthermore, 80 to 100% commissions of your hard-earned money going back to you. So make sure you reach out to us. Join at teamwpr.com. Again, that's join, Join, at teamwpr.com.
And we are live on the Realty Ruckus. We've got our host, Alan Hernandez, and we've got a special in-guest studio today, Richard Smith, and he is really giving us some good information about automating your business and making your business more effective and how to use your time better rather than doing the busy tasks, how to start making income-producing tasks.
Income-producing activities is what we're talking about, and getting rid of the stuff that doesn't produce income is what we really want to shoot for. And so we were just talking about how people will actually go out and put out their own signs. They'll put out their own lockboxes instead of just hiring someone to do it. What services can people look for to maybe sub some of those things out? Well, I mean, when you're first getting started, you kind of have to do some of it yourself. But what if you wanted to maybe hire someone to do it? Could you maybe hire a runner to do that?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's different services for everything. I think during the break earlier we mentioned it. A lot of people, they'll need like a graphic or a flyer put together.
Yeah.
And you'll see, and you can always tell it's a real estate agent who's either really out of touch with technology and has been in this business for a long time,
Yeah.
or it's a brand new agent and they just are,
they're not graphic designers.
Yeah, I'm just
but
going to go
they're
on
trying to be.
Microsoft Word and put together my
Spend
flyer.
hours.
Yes.
Hours and
Yeah,
hours.
they'll put 2 or 3 hours into this flyer
And it's the most horrible flyer you've ever seen.
yeah, at the end of it
The
all,
one
it
you
doesn't
never wanna
look
see
very
again.
good. But you can go on things like Fiverr, and $5 later, you've got a great graphic. It looks great. Everything's put
and
together
just to be
for
fair,
you.
Fiverr is not really $5 anymore. You may spend $25 now for a decent graphic.
I mean, it really depends because now it's getting so competitive that a lot of people are dropping back down to the $5 price range.
Yeah.
It just really depends on how in-depth you want it.
Still, you're getting someone to do it, and they're going to do it on their time, and you're only going to spend, even if it's $25, you're only going to spend $5 to $25.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine
minutes.
Yeah.
how much time, if I took 2 or 3 hours to make a flyer, but I hired somebody on Fiverr and it took me 3 minutes to hire them.
Right.
That leaves me with a lot of time to do other important things.
A lot of people don't actually know about this website, so we're going to put it on here on this show so you guys can see it. It's fiverr.com. You guys can find all sorts of people to handle all sorts of tasks for you. If you can think of it, someone in there can handle it for you, and you don't have to literally sit there and do it yourself. And I think that's what happens to us as business owners. We get into this to the real estate industry, and we think, well, we have to be designers, we have to be website creators, we have to we have to be the runners, we have to be the closers, we have to be the salespeople, we have to be everything. We wear every single hat, and unfortunately, when you start doing that, you're not good at any of them, and so you do have to find ways to set some of those tasks off.
I know. So the other day, an agent asked me, "Hey, I want to build a website. What software should I use, and where do I start?" And I said, just go on Fiverr.
Yeah.
There's people out there that'll build an entire website for you, $500, and they'll put it together in WordPress, and they'll even give you videos on how to edit your website later. And you didn't waste your time having to learn everything from scratch.
You don't need to go out there and build your own website. Definitely not. The other thing is when you have little tasks to do, I'm going to give you guys a website that I've used in the past, and it helps me. It's taskrabbit.com. Great website. It's basically a runner service. So whenever you need little things done, even if you need somebody to go stand in line for you, how much of a waste of time is it to go stand in line somewhere? Have you ever thought about that?
I think of Black Friday every time. There's people who go and they camp out a week and a half before to get like a TV. Normally like $4,000, they're gonna buy it for $1,000. Like, I'm saving $3,000. And I'm just thinking, man, you've been camped out there for a week. Like,
Yeah.
do you not? Don't you have a job? How do you make
They
money?
must not. I think that's actually the way they make money. I think that's the only way to make sense of it. Because why else would you stand in line for a week just to get a free? And it's never a $4,000 TV. It's like a $500 TV that they get for $200.
Yeah.
A really cool way to do it is like your average realtor out there, your average loan officer out there, when you look at how much you make, we always think about, well, I make this per transaction or this much a year. Break it down and divide it by how many hours you make. So your average realtor makes anywhere from $50 to $300 an hour. Mm-hmm. So let's just say worst case scenario, $50 an hour, because that's your low average. So when you're doing something like putting a flyer together, you need to think, would I pay somebody $50 an hour to put this flyer together? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is no, then you got to get someone else to do it, because you need to be doing money-making activities. What is your income-producing activities?
IPAs.
Same thing, yeah. And let somebody else do that. And nothing against somebody that doesn't make that much. I mean, someone's going to make $5 off you and they might put a flyer together or put a logo. I've heard of people spending hundreds and hundreds on logos. Mine costs $5.
Yeah.
It may not be the best, it may not be the worst, but I love it.
It's a logo.
Yeah, but think about that. Would I pay, your dollar per hour might be $100 an hour.
Yeah.
Because there's realtors out there that don't, say 40 hours a week make a.
I didn't actually understand what my income per hour was till I actually started tracking it.
Yes.
And the way that I did it is I got a system called timedoctor.com, and you get a free version of it for a time trial period. And I did that for 30 days straight, and I recommended everyone in the office do it, and
awesome.
I recommended everyone that I knew do it, because it was amazing what happened when I tracked every single thing that I did. And so the way it works is, let's say you're answering emails. Well, it'll pop up and it'll say, "What are you doing right now?" Well, I'm answering emails.
Right.
And it'll track that. It'll track how many hours you spend doing that, how many hours you spend on Facebook, how many hours you spend following up, this, that, and the other. And by the end of the day, you get a chance to see it all in a graph, and it's detailed what you did, and then you can see, well, let's say, for example, for a flip project, we'll spend 10 hours doing this, and we have this income, and we're looking at it, and we're looking at it at an income per hour basis, and we're thinking, wow, this is phenomenal,
right?
Whereas we may go out and do something else, and we may only make $50 to $100 an hour, and we're thinking, well, maybe this is not something we want to pursue,
right.
So. Or we offset that. So I think you're absolutely right. Looking at it on an income per hour basis is really, really important, and you can use free software to literally figure that out and then start making decisions on what your time needs to be and where you need to spend the most of it.
Yeah, and just be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Because, man, we've all gone home after a 8, 9, 10-hour day, and sometimes we think back and it's like, dang, what did I get done today?
Yeah.
Yep.
You know why? Because we fool ourselves into thinking that if we're busy, we're being productive. And if we're busy, it's usually doing stuff that really we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
It's just the way we trick ourselves, It's crazy.
True. We all go through that. Everyone goes through that. So, all right. So now that we've set up so we've said, all right, well, now we have a lead. Then it goes into our database. What's next? Would you say maybe appointment setting?
Appointment setting with
following
up
with that person, the lead.
We kind of have a system that we set up where, yes, we have a lead, we put them in our database, then we schedule the next activity, which the next activity might be, we called them, it went to voicemail, we leave them a voicemail, we send them a text that says, hey, sorry we got your voicemail, give me a call, blah, 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 and then we send them a follow-up email. So we're hitting them from every direction. And then we set that activity up for the next time we're going to call. That's what's key, because we forget. Yep. We just forget people. And so if you set up that appointment activity for the next time you're going to call, which if it's a new lead, it should be either, if you call in the morning, your next call might be in the afternoon. And then if you don't reach them there, your next call is in the morning. If you don't reach them there, always call. The second person you call is whoever referred that. So it might be a past client, might be a friend, say, hey, I've called a few times, haven't been able to reach them, and then that person will usually want to help out. But the key is always setting that next appointment And that can be something as easy as, an app on the phone or a Google Calendar or a task list, anything.
Well, and I think you just touched on a golden nugget, and I hope a lot of people heard it, but it's not always reaching out to the lead directly. It's sometimes going back to the lead referral source
Right.
and figuring out who referred that lead, going to that person and saying, hey, I tried reaching out, what's going on? And people tend to be a lot more helpful than you would imagine, especially when they referred that lead to you. They'll call and say, hey, what's going on? Why haven't you given that person a call back?
Especially loan officers to realtors.
Yeah.
Because I talk to realtors all the time, and they're like, yeah, I gave a lead to a loan officer, never heard anything, called him in 2 weeks, and he said, well, I couldn't get a hold of him.
Yeah.
But have that, I guess respect, but have that respect to let whoever referred it know, even if it's a past client, hey, I called them, haven't reached them, and I'd love to help them. So
in my opinion, the referral source is just as important, if not even more important, than the actual lead itself.
Yes.
You treat that referral source right, you implement them into your system, and you
Right.
make sure that they're taken care of, and you're going to get more referrals.
Yep.
Whereas that lead may or may not close depending on your closing ratio, but that referral source can be a continuous source.
Yes.
So part of our system when we get to step to step 3 of appointment setting is taking care of our referral source. What are we doing? Are we sending a postcard? Are we sending a thank you email? Are we sending a text?
Don't forget to thank them. That is the key, because we do. We get busy, and then we forget to thank the person that referred it.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I have found that really, really helps us is as soon as we're done meeting with that client, we're sending the referral source a quick little follow-up thank you and an update on what happened during that meeting.
Yeah.
And that's been phenomenal for us. So if you guys out there listening can take anything from today's show, make sure that that's being practiced in your business, because that's a lot of the reasons why you don't continue to get referrals is you haven't implemented them into your system, and you don't have a person or a software to help you continuously say thank you
Right.
and ask for more business. And that's really part of it. So, all right, we have a little bit more information to talk to you guys about continuing to automate your business, but we have to take a quick little break. We'll be right back. We got some more info coming to you shortly.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service and an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Hey everyone, this is David with the House Flipping Network, and if you're like a lot of people, you're probably daydreaming right now about getting to fire your boss. Let me tell you about an exciting opportunity for you to do just that. If you've been looking to get into real estate investing or flipping homes, the House Flipping Network provides coaching and consultation services for people looking to grow a real estate investment business. If you're interested in more information, please reach out to me at david@houseflippingnetwork.com.
Hey Houston real estate agents, this is Alan Hernandez, broker at White Picket Realty. I want to let you know that when you're ready to stop working your real estate career and start building a real estate business, Team WPR is a place to be. Not only do we offer real results, real support, and real branding, but furthermore, 80 to 100% commissions of your hard-earned money going back to you. So make sure you reach out to us, join at teamwpr.com. Again, that's join, Join, at teamwpr.com.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus. We're live in studio today with Richard Smith. He's giving us a lot of good information about helping to automate your business and things that you should be doing and you shouldn't be doing to make more money. And this is our last segment, so we're going to just jump right into it.
I can't believe how fast this has gone, man.
And get right into the the last part of it, and during the break, what I was saying is that for a lot of people, getting started with automation is extremely overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because most people, they're single operators. It's them running their business. They know this aspect, that aspect. I know exactly how it works. I know exactly what to say. And if I'm not the one who answers the phone, then it's not going to get answered correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this big fear of, I got to give somebody responsibility. I have to trust people. I have to make sure that they're doing a good job. And you never know if they're actually going to do that. So what are some ways that you can avoid those problems and make sure that you're giving people responsibilities, but not just giving them blind trust?
I can answer that.
Go ahead.
Well, a couple of things that I always do is I really base it on results. So if it's a virtual assistant, if it's someone that I hire, if it's someone that works for me, I base everything on the result. But I think the thing that you're talking about and what kind of comes to my mind is we have that fear of letting go.
Yeah,
Because-
very much so.
Yeah. Number one, we think no one can do it as good as we can. And a
right.
mentor of mine once told me, he said, man, if you feel this person can do it at least 80% as good as you, let them do it.
Yeah.
Because we have that fear. We think that no one can do it as good as us, and it's hard to let go. It really is. But follow up is really the key. So anybody that does anything for me in particular, by the end of the day, if they work hourly or if it's Fiverr, one of my requests is by the end of the day, I need an email or an update of everything that you accomplished for the day. So it's kind of that thing where if they know you're going to check up, then they're going to make sure they're on top of it. But if you just ask them to do something and then you're not really following up, then people will tend to not, do their best work. So that's kind of what I thought of. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, I thought the same thing, and I had the same exact fear when I started doing that. I'm a little bit OCD about getting things done the right way, and I think a lot of people in our industry maybe fall into that. If you're a type A personality, you feel like you should be doing it all because you're good at everything,
right.
And unfortunately that's the way my brain is wired. So for me to hire someone to do certain things that I was good at was extremely difficult. It was extremely difficult because I always felt they couldn't do it the same way.
Right.
But one of the things that I did, and one of the places where I lost money was hiring the wrong virtual assistants, and it was because they were going in there and I wasn't giving them proper instructions from the beginning. But I had to learn that the hard way. I said, well, I want this done. Here's a couple steps on how to do it, and they tried maybe, but they didn't do it quite right, and then I wasn't happy, so therefore I lost money. And I think that's where some of that fear comes from is, well, I'm going to go out and spend money on paying someone to do that, and it's not going to get done, and then I'm going to have to do it anyway. So that can be overcome by just taking a little bit more time to properly explain what your expectations are, setting it up correctly from the beginning, and then like you said, following up at the end and saying, well, what did you do? And I want you to know that I'm checking up on you. For me, one of the things that helped me a lot was using that software, Time Doctor, where it actually takes a screenshot of what the VAs are doing every 8 or 9 minutes. And we caught a couple VAs that we originally hired literally doing work for someone else on our time.
Exactly.
And it took us to go through there and say, hey, why are you checking, this other Facebook account when you should be checking mine? What's going on? Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. This and that. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, you got to go. And we had to go through several of them before we found one that we could trust.
Here's the thing, because you touched on something so important, because this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see realtors and loan officers make when hiring virtual assistants, is they do have a bad experience and they just, oh, this doesn't work, and they stop. That's the key. You have to, and it sounds bad, but you fire one, you got to hire another one.
Yep.
If you have to fire that one, you hire another one. And it's kind of like, 3 feet from gold, we always quit before we're successful. And so we can't get frustrated because the first one's not usually ever going to be the perfect person.
Right.
And hiring a virtual assistant is key if you stay on it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've seen the biggest mistake. This one was cheating on me and working for someone else, this virtual assistant thing just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, it does. It does work. I
It
mean, it
does.
makes a huge difference. A friend of mine tells me, if there was a machine right there and you stick a $100 bill and a $1,000 bill comes out, are you going to be there all day? Heck yeah. And that's leveraging somebody helping you. It's just a huge key.
And it's interesting because there's people that I've talked to they've hired 7 virtual assistants, and they're like, oh man, they all ripped me off. They all took my money. This virtual assistant thing is BS. It's not real. The people who have it got so lucky.
I used to think like that.
And I feel like a lot of the times they need to have kind of the come to Jesus talk and say, if that many people are failing,
Right.
there's got to be a problem on my side of it too. I'm not managing them well enough. I'm not doing my part on giving them clear instructions, clear expectations.
Yeah.
This is what I need. This is how I expect it done. This is what I expect done
Right.
on a daily basis. And one of the tasks you have to add, yes, you're getting rid of the tasks that they're going to do, but you have to add the task of management. And you have
right.
to manage those people. You can't just expect them to
Right.
fit your expectations perfectly and without ever getting any kind of review or anything. Because like you said, eventually they're all going to fall off the wagon.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because we were talking about earlier, we're setting up classes, physical classes for realtors and loan officers to come out and investors to learn not just how and where to find virtual assistants for $3 an hour, but how to set them up, how to teach them, how to train them, how to put a follow-up system together, everything it takes. Because like you were saying, if you don't know, you don't know. And that is one of the biggest mistakes, that a lot of times we don't know the right, the specific way to do that and to set it up. Because one thing you can't be is you can't be their trainer. You have to hire the right person that can self-train. That's what YouTube and Google are for, to learn, if you have a CRM, they're probably not going to know how to run it, but they need to teach themselves. But like you said, spending more time at the beginning, setting up the right expectations to where they're getting the right things done and they're time blocking their time to do that. So we're going to do some really cool things with that.
Yeah, so actually we want to reach out to our live audience, our Facebook and YouTube audience. Thank you guys again for joining us. But one of the things we're setting up right now is a class to teach you guys to do that, and we want to hear more from you. So if you're interested in learning more, please make sure you get with us. Make sure you email us, info@teamwpr. We can let you know more about the class that we have coming up to teach you how to literally automate your business through virtual assistants. And this is coming from people that are experienced, like Richard, that literally run their entire businesses off of leveraging other people's time. And we love that. We love the fact that we can bring that to you guys and we can help you grow your businesses. Make sure that you guys let us know about your interest in it so we can add you to our pre-RSVP list before we start letting people know about it. I'm sure a class like this is going to fill up, man. I mean, everyone wants to learn about this. Everyone wants to understand how to do this properly.
It's one of the greatest things I've ever done for my business.
You mentioned that your business skyrocketed 3 or 4 years ago, and that was the one key factor to your success.
Yep, it's just key. And what's really cool is you have other people helping you with the things that aren't on your list of what you love to do, what you're good at, and what's bringing in money. But the key is you're getting other people to help, and those items that they're doing are on their list of what they love and what they are good at. So everybody's a winner. That's what I love about it. It's literally one of the most passionate classes that I teach because it not just is business changing, it is life changing.
Yeah.
It's so huge.
Yeah, we'll keep everyone updated on that class. You also have another class coming up that one's already scheduled, correct?
Thursday we have Evernote. So I'll be teaching an Evernote for real estate agents and loan officers class, which, I mean, it can be investors,
it can
real
be for
estate
anyone.
agent. Yeah.
Anyone who wants to stay organized and not just have random little sticky notes laying around.
Exactly.
Should be able to go to this class and learn on how to use this software, which is called Evernote.
Yeah, and I think
free software.
Audience might find it funny. Richard is so automated, like to the next level automation, that when we asked him about the class, because we saw a post on Facebook, he was like, "Oh man, I haven't even looked at that PowerPoint."
Yeah.
It was created by somebody. He's aware of the information that's going
Right.
into it, and obviously well aware of Evernote and
Of
what
how to teach it.
But
Right.
it's just amazing to me that he's got all this set up and wasn't involved in it.
Well, and then you told us about how now you actually have team members who will go out and do classes for you.
Yes,
too.
yes.
And that's the next level of setting yourself out of the system. Now you're creating a system where now someone else is teaching the classes, bringing potentially valuable realtors to your system, which is really
Right.
what loan officers are always looking for. And it's not even you teaching the class. It's
Right.
amazing. So now you've handed that part of the business down.
How can people contact you, Richard, if they want to get in touch and find out more about the classes that you teach?
They can email me
Okay.
at rsmithcrown@gmail.com. Or they can even shoot me a text at 832-887-1300. But if they're looking for any information on automation, hiring virtual assistants, some of the future classes that we have, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Definitely. This Friday we have a phenomenal class coming up. We're going to be, not a class, a show. Don't forget that starts at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And we're going to continue our conversation on real estate legal aspects. Now I mean, it's funny because every time we do one of these shows on the legal side of the business, we get another question from an audience member who needs answered. So we have some awesome information coming to you guys
People love the
this
legal.
week. I love it.
That's
love
awesome.
that we can provide that for you guys. Richard, thanks again for joining us,
Oh,
man.
thank
It was
you.
a
It was an honor.
phenomenal time sitting down and just chatting and talking about how to build our businesses. Guys, don't forget to tune in. Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then Tuesday again of next week, we have an awesome guest coming in. Do we want to talk about
That's going to
that?
be a good one. Yeah, next Tuesday, Ray Sasser, he spends about 24 literal man hours on his own putting together a class that he teaches the state of the real estate market. And he's going to be giving it first here in studio next week. We'll have the first look at that.
So he's literally giving us an entire view. And this guy's been investing. How many years has this guy been investing?
It's got to be at least 30.
30
At
plus
least,
years.
yeah.
So Ray understands exactly what's happening. I don't know how many houses he owns, rentals and whatnot, but he's going to be giving us first look into what his analysis is of today's market, what houses are selling, which ones aren't. And we're going to sit here and chat about it and figure out where we need to be, what we need to be doing. So don't forget to tune in. Again, thanks again for joining us here at Realty Ruckus, and we'll see you soon.
This has been the Realty Ruckus. Make sure and join us every Tuesday and Friday for new episodes. Find us on YouTube and Facebook for replays of previous episodes. And as always, keep elevating yourself and keep up your ruckus. Thanks for listening. Realty Ruckus has been brought to you by Smart Pig Media Productions.